Hey there, technology in cars. Do you understand it? You know, there have been incredible advancements over the last 10 years in all of the gadgets and gizmos that we have in modern cars. And there's some interesting research out from the British Motor Show, the reborn British Motor Show, which actually returns in August. Looking forward to that. Make sure you've signed up for tickets and stuff for that one. And they've conducted some research about technology in cars. So before I get into that, I'm going to do the whole YouTuber thing about make sure that you are please subscribing. There's a logo. I think it's there or there. Probably it's there. There's a little logo that's hovering just there. If you roll over it, a subscribe button will come up. Click the subscribe button so that you make sure that you subscribe to this. Hit the little bell with the other subscribe button, and then you make sure you never miss any of my uploads and updates and all of these things that I do and upload onto YouTube. Hope you're enjoying these. Do let me know what you make of them, and do share them. Do tell other people. Hey, Brown Car Guy, check him out. Also, don't forget to follow me on all social media. #Brown Car Guy. Anyway, getting back to the research by the good people at the British Motor Show, which is, like I said, going to be reborn at Farnborough Expo Centre actually in August. I did a piece earlier on that, so you can find that on browncarguy.com. Just search for it and you'll find it on there, and all the details about the show are actually there. Going back to this research, now it's very interesting. What they found is that 35, so that's over a third of people, of owners and drivers of their cars, basically confess that they don't understand the technological features in their car. And what do we mean? What do we mean by technological features? I mean, there's been a lot of stuff that's come into cars lately. I mean, traction control, ABS has been there for a while, but there are driver assistance systems, there's auto braking. Even I get flummoxed sometimes when I get a new car and it suddenly stops. And I'm like, why did it stop? What the hell did you do that for? Did I hit something? And you get out, you jump out, you look around, you didn't hit anything, but it detected a squirrel or something, 3 meters away, and it freaked out and stopped, because it's got automatic braking, stuff like that. You got cross traffic alert, you got cross reversing alert, you got blind spot assist, you got lane keep assist, you got active cruise control, you got autopilot systems, and I'll come to those because therein lies some dangers. But going back to those stats that they gave us, 70%, like I said, so 35% don't understand. 70% claim it's because the salespeople didn't properly explain the features to them. In fact, 25% say that they simply weren't told about the features adequately enough, so they didn't know that they exist or whatever. 20%, even if they knew them, they admit that they use less than half of the technology and the systems that are on the car. That's half. If you look at all the time, effort, investment, energy that's gone into creating, researching, developing, testing, and then finally putting in this tech into cars, and less than half, the 20% say that they use less than half. That's not great. And what was the other figure? 10% confess that they only understood a fraction of what the systems actually did on their cars. And they just chose, let's just drive it. I'm just driving it. All of this stuff. And I feel them. I feel it, because I remember, Mercedes, of course, put a lot of technology into their cars. And, sometimes you get into a Mercedes. So you get into like a new Mercedes. And, of course, you've got that, that full screen instrument panel that you now have on most of the new ones. And at first glance, it's a bit overwhelming. I mean, there's a lot of stuff on there. And you're like, whoa. And so there is a tendency to just say, you know what? I'll pull into drive. I know the accelerator and the brake. And I know the steering wheel. I'll just do that. And that's fine if you're driving it for a short distance, but if you own this car and you run it and you're neglecting to find out all the features and technology that it has on it, some of which you need to know because the car might start doing things that you're not aware of why it's doing. For example, I remember driving Volvos, and they have emergency avoidance systems on the cars that they will actually they will actually take control of the steering wheel on a motorway if they feel that they're about to be involved in a collision. Now, if you aren't aware that the car can do that, you'll freak out. You'll open the door and get out of that car on the motorway because this was possessed. I'm not driving this car. There's a ghost in the system. No. You need to know what the car does. So I think that, and also like having all of those systems and features on a car and then basically not using any of them is like, how can I put it? It's like having a top of the range DSLR and just taking family snaps with it. It's like having a MacBook Pro and only using it for emails. It's like, wow, that is a lot of redundancy in that. But also, there's two other points to think about here. First of all, manufacturers. This is something for you. It's wonderful that you're doing this. It's wonderful that you're putting all of this technology and all of these driver's aids into cars, and it's really, really good that you're doing that. However, are the UIs, and by UIs I mean user interfaces, are they working? Do they make sense? Are they intuitive? Can people easily understand them? People of all ages and generations. I'm not talking just about the young smartphone generation, but even older people. Can they get in? Does it make sense? And I'm not sure that it always does. Sometimes even I've tested cars for 30 years, all kinds of different cars, and even now I get into some cars and I'm like punching away at menus on the screen and trying to figure out how do I do what? Hey, who? How? Why isn't it talking to my phone? Why isn't the sat nav working? What? Oh, it doesn't have so. I think maybe sometimes, they're not quite as intuitive as they should be, and I think manufacturers maybe need to employ people that are actually more versed in that. Or maybe just ask Apple to do it. Apple are pretty good at that sort of thing, aren't they? So that's one thing, and then the other thing is like maybe there is just too much technology in cars. Maybe we need to just throttle back a little bit, dial back a little bit, because you have two ends of the spectrum at the moment. You have people that are 20% are using less than half of the stuff on the cars, virtually ignoring all the tech and just driving it like an ordinary automobile that they would have driven, say, 20 years ago. So they're doing that. And then on the other hand, you got sort of more savvy people that are basically using everything on the car. And by using everything on the car, are almost maybe relying too much on the car. And we've had instances of people, using autopilot and self-drive systems, semi-autonomous systems, because there is no such thing as a full autonomous system. Anybody out there goes, my car can drive itself on the motorway. No, it cannot. It gives the illusion that it can, but you need to be fully aware of that car, of what that car is doing, and you need to be fully ready to take back control at any point, because they just ain't that good yet. And don't forget that full autonomy is way, way off. We're talking at the moment, we got level 3, maybe level 4 autonomy in some cars, but level 5 is way, way off. So you need to be aware of what the car's capabilities are, what its limitations are, and by not being aware of what it's doing. So at one hand, you've got people that are completely oblivious to what their car is capable of and what the technology is telling them to, and they're a danger because they're not really using the advantages of the technology in the car, and therefore they actually pose a danger. Because if they're freaking out when things are happening and they're not taking advantage of blind spot assist and stuff like that, then they're not utilizing that. On the other hand, you have people that may be depending on it too much and they are becoming complacent in the way that they're driving, and maybe that's not safe either. So there's a lot to think about there. There's a lot to package into this, but it's a very interesting bit of research that I thought would be great to hear what your views are on this and what you think of it. And do you think there is too much technology in cars now? And if there is technology in your car, how much of it do you understand and use? Please let me know in the comments above below, elsewhere around this, wherever it is that you're viewing this. And again, if you're viewing this on YouTube, make sure that you're subscribing, hit the notification button, and make sure you share it and tell all your friends about Brown Car Guy, and make sure to get them to all follow me as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll be with you again very, very soon.